Hi, it's Trevor here from Adreno Brisbane, and today we're going to do a bit of an unboxing of the Suunto D4F. I personally haven't touched this computer or ever used it before, so most of the information we're going to be giving you is going to be from the manual. Everybody likes a manual. It gives me all the information I need, and hopefully I'll just be able to give you a few of the bits and pieces about why this is a new freediving computer from Suunto, which hasn't really existed before. One of the first things you'll find with the D4F in comparison to a lot of Suunto's scuba diving computers is it's a lot simpler to use. There's only really the three main functions on it. You've got your time function, then you've got your dive function, which will go straight into freedive mode, and then there's just a settings one or your history. You're more than settings, it's the history function. Once you're in dive mode, you can use up and down, and that will change between what displays on your screen, whether you want it to have your dive time and how long your dive was or what the time actually is. And there's a lot of little things you can have on your screen, but you just have to pick which ones you want. This watch is a little bit more advanced than a few other freediving watches on the market. It has things like timers to tell you when you should be ascending, if you want to go right in and set those. Timers that'll keep track of your surface intervals and tell you when it's safe to then descend again. It even has a function in it that will keep track of how much diving you've been doing, and if you've dived for too much in a single day, how long you have to wait to then go on an air flight. So not that I think a freediver will ever need that function, but it is there if you ever do want to use it. This watch is manufactured in Finland. I have that information because it's written on the back, and it's also pressure tested to 100 meters, again written on the back. If as a diver, particularly a freediver, you're going past that 100 meter mark, I'm most impressed and would probably recommend a slightly different watch, but this one is quite good for those of us mere mortals that can't do those particular depths. One thing about the Suunto over a lot of the other dive computers is it's not a user interchangeable battery, so if you do want to get this one when its battery does go flat, it will need to be taken to a Suunto dealer or representative to have them change the battery for you. One thing people will enjoy about this watch is that all the information you require can be on one screen at one time. There's a few other watches on the market where you have to change between screens to see your depth or your time, and you can't see it on the one face, so that's where this watch is pretty good in that respect. It's also a lot more compact than some of the other freediver watches on the market. Most freediver watches are not particularly comfortable to wear on your wrist all the time, whereas this one you could pull off having as your watch you wear every day. One thing I would recommend with this watch is the screen is recessed from that outside ring, so you might want to put a lens protector on there just to make sure when you bump it on things it doesn't get scratched. This particular watch has a lot of extra features, some other dive watches don't. One of them is an apnea mode. If you go in and program the apnea mode, you can use it to actually have timing and sound alarms for your different parts of your dive tables. Other features this watch has is it's got a very large memory. It will save up to 999 dives, and after that reset to zero, whereas a few other watches on the market only save about 100 dives. It will also switch on automatically, which is good. Once you get past about 4 meters deep, it'll actually turn itself into dive mode, but you can very simply turn it into dive mode, which is what's recommended, just by pressing the dive mode button instead of waiting for it to click in. If you've been down for longer than 10 minutes, it will go into like a standby scuba diving mode they call gauge mode, just to keep track of your depth and time and those kind of things. And then it will reset itself back out of that when you get to the top. So if you do want to use it as an incredibly basic scuba dive watch, you can, but probably not so much recommended for that. There's a lot of other features that this watch does have, too numerous to mention. They're really getting into the technical end of things and take a lot of setting up. It is actually priced to compete in the market against other dive computer brands, which is something that's new for Suunto, as they're usually a lot more expensive as a computer. This brings us in as a very good competitive freediving watch, because you're not spending a fortune, but you are getting a lot more technology and a lot more memory in the watch than you would do with some of the other competing brands. But if you want to read the manual, it's only 45 to 50 pages long, and it's got some very interesting information in there about what this watch can and can't do, and I'd highly recommend it. You can get the user manual or specification guide from Suunto's website in almost any language, so feel free to jump on and have a look if you are more interested in this watch. This computer comes with every other alarm that most computers do, as well as a few new ones. It has your, if you want to set it, it has your maximum depth alarm, which is automatically set to 30 metres. You can go in and change that deeper if you do want to, or shallower. It has your time alarm, so if you set it before you go diving, it will tell you if you've been down for longer than you want to be. It has your surface interval alarm, which is a new one. Once you set that, it'll keep track of how long you're on the surface for and let you know when it's safe for you to descend again. It also has the ascension alarm, which will tell you when it's time for you to start going up to the surface if you have set your intervals to tell you when it's correct for you to do that. All in all, a good little bit of technology for a reasonable price.